We'd like to welcome you all to the class, whether or not you're going on the Alps field trip or not. You can still take your class even if you're undecided if you're going, but you probably should decide soon. So we'll talk about the logistics. My co-teacher is John McBride here, and Chris Mortensen is the unofficial person that's going to actually run the field trip. We're just doing whatever she tells us to do.
The pre-field trip stuff.
So welcome to this class. And our hope is that we will prepare you well for the field trip and also for a general geology of the Alps in many different aspects. So I think you can get a lot out of this class. And my hope is that we can go to the Alps and have a great time and know what we're seeing beforehand, so we don't have to talk about, okay, now this is this, because you'll have already seen it and be familiar with it and ready to hit the ground running. So that's why we have this class. So anything you want to say, John?
Well, it's, if you've had a chance to look at the outline, it covers a broader range of topics than maybe you're used to in a geology class, in the sense that it's impossible to ignore the cultural aspect of what we're doing, so there'll be a lot of that as well, and I think Chris will talk a little bit about that. Also, it'll highlight some of the research focus or foci that have been in the area by various faculty members. So, for example, I've been working with other faculty on studying the internal structure of glacial ice, which is one of our stops, the Gorner Glacier in Zermatt area.
For how many years now?
I don't know, about 5 years, and five field seasons there collecting data. So there'll also be this aspect of being able to see what students and faculty have been doing research-wise in the area. So there'll be cultural aspects, there'll be general geology, including the ice that sits on top of the geology, and then also experiencing what type of research projects that students have gotten involved with faculty. In this particular case, the glacier. But that project, studying the Gorner Glacier system, we had two publications come out on that. We had graduate students do that for their theses. That got started as a mega field trip. So who knows what might arise out of this one? We'll see.
And before we get started with Chris's information, which is substantial, let me just pass out the topics that we're going to consider. I don't know. I think some of you have seen this before. This is a little more fleshed out. And the thing that I was disappointed in is that you did not, everyone volunteer to take a topic. And you may only be taking this class for a half credit or 1 credit, but still we'd like to hear from you. What I enjoy doing is, for 3 credit classes, I enjoy going on a field trip at the first week of the class so I can get to know each one of you. Now, we can't do a field trip the first week of class for multiple reasons. So we need to hear from you sooner than later. So let me pass this out. And you'll notice that some of the students are older and some are younger. We won't say, I'm probably just as old as probably anybody in this class. But, so what I'd like you to do is take a look at this list. You can see how faculty are heavily participating. And the question is, what would you like to speak on? You know, there's a couple of open sessions towards the end there. Have you be creative and have you propose a topic that would fit in this class that your other colleagues may be interested in hearing about too. For example, I was the one that came up with the crazy idea of best and worst ways of hiking the Matterhorn. Now, Scott Ritter heard that and said, I'll talk about that. So he already has volunteered to talk about that. But you may have something like that you'd be interested in talking about. And so be creative. Yeah, Colin.
I'm all about the Celtic influences of the Alps.
Celtic influence.
I'll bring my bagpipes and I'll play them up on top.
There we go. That's great. So Are you writing this down, Chris? So,
What was it?
Colin's gonna do the Celtic influences.
I want the cheese making one.
And Bonnie's gonna do the cheese making.
Who is doing it?
Bonnie.
Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can it be groups or does it have to be
And you
individual?
can be groups, you can combine 2 or 3 students, combine on one topic. So, yes. Rock climbing, that's an interesting.
And who was that?
That's Brittany, is that right? Brittany, rock climbing.
So do we want something besides what's listed here?
No, you can do the ones that are listed here. If we don't get volunteers, we'll either have to cancel the topic or have me do it, either of which is acceptable. But,
What kind of presentations are these like? And how big are they?
these can be PowerPoint presentation that is as short as 10 to 15 minutes, or you can go and put everybody to sleep and talk for 50 minutes. I think probably.
We're gonna do that next time.
He's speaking next time. So he'll keep you all awake. And the other thing is these need to be discussions. So if you put together a PowerPoint and you have 15 slides, I expect you to ask 15 questions so that the group is not like this, heads down, and, on the desk. So, go ahead.
What if I ask 16 or 17 questions?
That's okay, as long as they're pertinent, as long as you're not irritating like some of the other students in the class.
What happens if we don't volunteer? Do we get-
I'll suggest other things to you. But, I think rock climbing is a great option. For example, my son sent me a picture of people wingsuiting in the Alps. You know what wingsuiting is? And they would jump off the top of the Alps and fly down. That was interesting, but not necessarily pertinent. But you may have something that you'd like to do like that. So, Ryan, what are you thinking about?
I will do the UHP Diamondberg maps.
All right, I was hoping somebody would do that. So Ryan's gonna do the ultra-high pressure diamond bearing rocks.
That one's on our list, isn't it?
Yes, near the
There it is.
top.
Yeah, there it is.
So, anybody else want to volunteer right now, or do you want to think about it?
I can maybe assist Ryan. We can do some co-presenting.
Oh,
on
that'd be
that.
great, that would be great. So, yeah, put down Michael and Ryan for ultra-high pressure rocks.
Okay.
Is that already?
And other suggestions or thoughts? Volunteerism?
I might wanna do glacier stuff. I'm not sure yet, but that's.
So, John or Chris, do you want to take over and add some things I've forgotten? Chris is here to talk about how you're going to find cheap flights to the Alps. That's the #1 thing that we need to help you on as soon as possible. We want to hear your ideas as well as Chris's suggestions. So, Chris, you want to take this?
How many of you have your passports? That's the first thing. I should say, who doesn't have one? Okay, just so you know, the ones that do, make sure that you have 6 months left on your passport after you return. That is one of the requirements, that when you book a ticket, you have to have 6 months left. I have no idea why, it's on the website, government thing. So make sure that you have that, and if you don't, then get a renewal. I just had to renew mine, so you have quite enough time left. I wanna talk a little bit, before we get to the flights, I wanna talk about the hotels. How many of you have been to Europe before? Anybody? Okay, so you probably know no two hotels are alike. They have nice, beautiful hotels, they have tiny little hotels.
No
they
two
have
rooms
hotels
are
with-
alike.
Yeah, no two rooms are alike. They don't have elevators, some of them, especially in the little tiny towns that we're going to. The beds are really kind of funky. They're, if you can imagine, so king headboard it looks like, and flat bottom, and then they've got 2 little mattresses with a little crack in between. That's a double bed in Europe. So we're struggling with trying to figure out how we're gonna put everybody in, but we'll do it. On flights, there are so many, I'm finding even more and more places out there to book flights. I, in the past, have used, the regular kayak Travelocity orbits. There's one, I'll send this out so you don't have to write them down. ITA Matrix software, which just gives you all the flights, and then you have to book them somewhere else. I wanted, Caitlin to tell you about a flight that she just got on Scott'sCheapFlights.com. You wanna tell me about
Yeah,
that?
so I had a friend tell me about this, he's actually my home teacher. They got a trip to Italy for like next month for like $400, $300 through this website. To sign up for it, just search Scott'sCheapFlights.com.
It's $15
Yeah.
quarter.
So you sign up for it,
3 months.
depending on which one you sign up for, I signed up for the premium one because there was a deal and that was like $40. And so that's for a year, and they'll give you, all the flights, all the deals for anywhere you wanna go. Most of the flights are for Europe, though. You can change what region you wanna fly out of. I'll be flying out of North Carolina because that's where my parents live. Then I'll meet Chris in Georgia, in Atlanta. But yeah, so you can choose what region, even what airport, if you sign up for the premium, what airport you wanna fly out of. So yeah, my flight ended up being a little more than what Chris had said because I accidentally booked it for the wrong day. So it's like $620, but still, most flights to Italy, to Milan where we're going, is about $1,000.
Yeah.
So it's worth, in my opinion, it was worth the $40 to get that deal. Plus it'll make you really wanna travel the world, seeing all these cheap deals to fly everywhere still.
I've been watching them and it's like, oh man, Denmark, you know, Bangkok, Hong Kong, all these places for $400 or $500.
And you have to be ready to pay it right away,
Yeah,
because
they
most of
don't
the
last
time the
very
deals
long.
only last like 12 hours, maybe 48 hours, so you have to be ready to pay right away.
I signed up for the quarter because I thought, oh, within a quarter I should be able to figure it out. I looked at two today that were not on Scott's deals, and one of them was $1,260 and the other was $1,318. That's just the regular price.
Out of Salt Lake.
Out of Salt Lake. One thing that you can do, it's really easy, once you get to Europe, it's really cheap to get from, like, say, Paris to Milan. So you don't have to leave from, you don't have to fly right into Milan, but you have to be there by the time we're ready to leave Milan. So you might have to leave a day early. You'll just have to look at the schedule and see, because sometimes you look at it and you'll see these cheaper flights on different days. And so check for that. The other thing too is there weren't a lot of flights out of Salt Lake that I've seen. Just recently I've seen a couple, but you could fly out of Denver. Denver's not very much to get from, even if you had a $500 flight and you flew from Denver and it was another $200, you'd still be saving money. So kind of look at your different options, and I'll be glad to help you. Come into my office anytime. I love looking at travel. I'd rather do that than anything else. So, and I always look at it at night. So if I find something, I'll send it out. But so far, the ones that I've seen are on this Scott's Cheap Deals, and I haven't figured out how to send that on a group email. So we're gonna try it. Caitlin's gonna send it to me, and then I can send my email to you. But I can't send my email to me and then to all of you. So anyway, let's see if there's anything else. Any questions on flights or good flights that you've got? Have some of you already bought tickets? Somebody was telling me the other day, kayak, they found a ticket for $900, I think it was. So I wish I could tell you that the prices are gonna stay where they are or go down. We don't know. It's just something, we got ours and they've gone down a little bit since we bought ours. I will send.
I sent you that link on the Wall Street Journal article where they're speculating that deals this year, are going to increase in number and so forth because companies are having the same target audience. So I think flights in general will go down until about 2 months beforehand, and then you're gonna.
Right now, there's a lot of seats. That's the good thing about it. If you look, like we booked ours and looked at the seating, there's a lot of seats right now that are available. But the closer it gets to the travel time, then there are less seats available.
Can you remind us the time
We need you guys, our flight gets in at 9:15. So we're hoping that we can have you guys be there between 9:15, no later than 10 o'clock. Because we wanna get on our way. So, and it'll take a little while to go through customs. So, what's that? Yeah. And make sure that you're flying into,
Malpensa.
yeah, Malpensa, MXP. Because if you fly into the other one, you're about 50 minutes away from that airport. And you'd have to get a taxi or something to get over there. So make sure that you're getting into that one. And then today when I was looking to, a little tricky, sometimes you have to watch because it makes it look like you can fly in and, but then you have a long layover somewhere else and you don't get there till Monday. So when you watch, just double check and make sure you're getting there the right day, otherwise you'll be a day behind all of us. Try not to fly into JFK. I hate to say that because it's a little bit cheaper, I think, but if you have never been there, it's crazy. They're speaking over each other on the speaker and changing places where you leave from. Sometimes you don't even know unless you're walking around and you say, oh my gosh, there's my flight, and I've been watching the board. So I had that experience and I thought, I don't know how you do it
Is there a way that we could get on your flight or the same flight so that we're not traveling alone?
Yes, you can come in and see me. Actually, I'll send the flight information out, and I'll send this out. BYU will book our flights, and on Delta, I know Delta, I'm not sure what other airlines, but they have a contract with Delta, and so they get them a little bit less. Not a huge difference, maybe $30, $40, but sometimes not even that. But I would book them through BYU if you want to go on the same flight with us. So come and see me, and I'll give you the information, plus I'll mail this out. Okay, one thing that we do want you to get, BYU, well, it's not a BYU insurance, but we're running this one through BYU, they'll help us with it. It's called HTH Medical Insurance. This insurance will cover you, it will cover you, your spouse, if your spouse is going, the staff, the alumni have to buy their own. But it's the same website, they just have to do it differently, they can't do it through BYU. But this insurance will cover if you have a medical emergency while you're there, if there's some kind of a catastrophe while you're there, if you fall and break your leg, I mean, it covers a lot of things. And so, and it's really inexpensive, it's $18 a week. So it's worth having it, we've never had to have anyone use it, but we'll send more out about that too and tell you when you need to get that. We didn't include that in the price because we didn't know at the time how much it was. If you have a dependent going, which is your spouse, it's $42 a week. So it's a little bit more. But it's good insurance, it covers a lot of things, and also BYU really wants us to do that because then they know where you are in case there is some kind of a catastrophe that takes place.
So I just looked at our flight, right now it's $1,400. So again, I can go up or down.
Yeah, it goes every day. I would just check every day and see. Like I said, I'll send all of this information out so that you will have. Back to the hotels, let me just mention one thing. Like I said, the hotels are sometimes tiny and 2 or 3 flights up with no elevators. So we're asking you guys to please help our alumni get their luggage up to the 3rd floor. And maybe back into the bus too, because it takes a little while when there's 52 of us trying to get all of our luggage into the bus. And last time we went, oh my gosh, it was great. We had a lot of helpers, and so we're hoping that you guys can help with that too. As long as, you know, I also enjoy and have a fantastic trip. I think that's all 2 other forms. Sometime during the semester, we'll ask you to fill out the assumption of risk form. I think all of you have filled that one out before. And the medical form, if you've been to the Bahamas, you've filled that one out too. These forms will be given to you like probably on a Tuesday, and then we want them back on a Thursday. So we're not just gonna say, get them back when you can. We need them back because there's information on those that we have to fill out forms, and we need them. So when we give it to you, just try and get it done. They're easy forms to fill out. The assumption of risk is when you just sign it, and it's very easy. The medical requires a little bit more information. Any questions? Anyone excited to go? All right. Over to
Okay,
Jeff.
and we're passing a roll around, so we kind of know who's here, and we'll circulate it throughout the class. Excuse me?
What about the dates? What do you want to do?
Oh, just check the date today that you're here.
And when I was mentioning that some of the students here are older and some are younger, I'm implying that, yes, there's twice this many that are actually going on the field trip. We're going to have a total group size of 50, and so a lot of those students that are going are actually alumni or faculty or wives, and so we'll have a good-sized group. But we're going to see that little camera right over there. We're going to record these discussions and make them available through YouTube, and then also archive them. And that's Eric's responsibility to see how that's working.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think it's working today?
It's working.
So does this make me look fat?
It actually cut off 10 pounds. So you did.
That's great.
You could use some great image processing on it.
Okay.
Make you look like however you want.
Yep.
So you'll each have a chance to be on YouTube when you give your presentation. And let's see, what else? I made a few notes that I needed to make sure I covered today. Okay, prepare you beforehand. We're going to have discussions, and it's incumbent upon you to ask good questions. If you walk away from here not knowing the answer to your questions, it's your fault. So ask any question. Doesn't matter what it is. We need to get all the questions out here right now, especially, and then each week as you come here, ask more questions, okay? And I'll be tweaking the itinerary bit by bit as opportunities come or go, or I'll let you know, okay? And I'm also going to text to send by email my phone so that all of the alumni can text me during the class and say, what about this, what about this? And they can ask questions of you or us and get those questions answered, okay? They can do it during the week, we'll ask them all in the next class period. So, John, anything you've thought of in the interim?
I don't think so. It's important to ask questions, especially if you're going on the trips, to help you prepare to have the best experience. Some of you have traveled more than others, and so are more knowledgeable. But for some that haven't traveled that much, you may have questions, and some of us have done a lot of traveling. And so please ask questions to help you have the best experience and preparing for it.
I have one thing to mention about that. So we're going to do a buddy system because the last time we went to Italy, we lost one of our alumni.
Temporarily.
Temporarily.
Don't make it sound worse than
He decided to run to the restroom while they were at a college, and we all went and had pizza without him, but nobody noticed he was missing because we were all sitting in a big room. So luckily, he did not, we found him, he did not know where we were. His stuff was in the bus, he didn't know where the bus was. So he just stayed outside the university until we came back through. Luckily, somebody still had pizza left, they didn't eat, so he got to eat. But he was just hoping that we would find him because he was stranded. So make sure that you have a buddy, maybe somebody that's your roommate, so that you stay together, and that, you know, if you go to the restroom, let them know that you're going so you don't get left. That was, after that happened, we made sure everybody had buddies after that, because that's a scary thing to be lost in a country that you don't know. Also, one thing I was thinking, you might check your cell phone plan and see if you have international coverage, because
You usually have to get that enabled.
yeah, I have
It's not automatic.
Yeah, I have Verizon, and I just get it, and it's a little bit to have coverage,
But you know, if you don't do that, and you just, like, your phone will work, like, it'll work
Oh,
sort of straight at
yes.
$10 a minute, or, so you have to make sure you get the international features enabled. It may still work, but then you're gonna get charged a huge amount. And make sure it's enabled for the countries that you're visiting.
The
We'll
other
talk
thing
more about
too
that
is
later.
eventually, we'll talk about also you'll need a plug. We have quite a few of them, but you could probably get them from the office, the plug for Italy. I don't know if it's the same for Switzerland, Austria, I think. Anyway, if you wanna charge your phone or any of your other things, you'll need to have a specific plug for that.
For my hairdryer.
For your hairdryer, yeah. Okay, I just thought of that, I was gonna write it down, I forgot to.
Is it possible to obtain a list of like what is recommended to bring on the trip? Like, what's packed, just in case?
Yes, we've done that for other trips. It's usually a full page list, and I'm sure we'll generate one for this trip as well.
I mean, pack light, oh my gosh, we are gonna be in hotels for like at least 2 to 3 days. I don't know how many times I've washed clothes out and just hung them up and let them dry. You don't need to bring a lot of clothes with you, just rewash them. We don't care if you're wearing the same shirt, you know, several times during the 10 days.
I've started already. That's how you'll see me.
Wait, that's not how you're supposed to do
They need a
things
jacket
normally?
of some kind for the mine. So they'll need a jacket of some kind, keep you warm in the mine, because it gets a little chilly.
Other questions? All good questions, yes?
So like, what are you gonna do about the currency since we're visiting like 3 different countries?
Go.
Well, we'll give you some lectures on that.
Okay.
Because as far as I know, Switzerland still uses the Swiss franc.
Yeah, they do.
Most other people use the euro, and so we're gonna have to transfer back and forth.
They screw you over when you transfer, so, yeah. I did that when I went to Europe, and it was like when the exchange rate between the euro and the dollar and the euro and the Swiss franc was pretty low. We had to exchange to Swiss francs when I went into Switzerland, and we had to exchange back to euros when I went out of France. And I lost, like 50% of my money just exchanging, so.
Well, almost,
Exchange all of it.
almost every place we'll go will take credit cards, and then you avoid that whole.
And you'll get a
issue.
transaction fee probably.
Some plans don't have.
And don't forget your PIN.
And make sure you let your bank know you're not in the United States anymore.
The credit card and the debit card will work at ATMs, and they'll give you francs or euros depending upon what country they're in. So you just have to have 1 or 2 reliable cards. Sometimes one card won't work, darn, don't throw it away, but keep it. And try to get it next ATM, and some ATMs don't work. But a good selection of 2 or 3 cards will get you through Europe. Other questions?
So, for the hotel situation, are we gonna book a hotel as soon as we land there?
No, we're booking them now. That's why we've asked you to pay deposits now, because we'll be in different hotels, but we'll all be in the same, mostly the same hotel.
So we'll have an assigned email as well?
Yep. And they're anxious to get their money since we've been holding these rooms since September.
For those of us who've never really traveled before and have never been on an airplane before, any advice on safe travels?
Shoe down on an airplane.
So your ears will pop when you go up and down in pressure. Other questions?
There's a button that you should never push because it causes the wings to fall off. So they'll have it labeled, do not push it.
It's usually right next to your chair.
Oh, yeah, it's really confusing, yeah.
It looks like
That's-
it's the arm seat rest, but it's not. Make sure you have a buddy, because getting from one place to the airport, or that you're flying with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Lisa, anything we missed?
No, I'm going to Chris.
That's good. Safe.
We would love to have any of you come with us.
Yes.
Would you have any recommended texts to read, just to do our own personal study, further study?
Well, I thought about recommending the text. I should have brought it with me. It's the one that Mike Duray is using for metamorphism of granites in the Alps. It's a coffee table book with pictures of the Alps, and it's you can put it on your coffee table. It costs about $50, $60.
Comfort table. Comfort table.
Comfort. Oh, comfort, not coffee.
Comfort table.
So But anyway, that's a good possibility. It's fairly recently published, and we'll have that recommendation for you next time. But you don't have to buy it because it's $50, $60 that you might be able to use in another class. But you know, you can take it and study it if you like. Other questions? Yes.
So for those of us that are unable to attend, but we still want to be here,
Much like Kevin was
is there?
Riverwoods, free for periods to meet. Anything else? Okay, I think we're done. Let's see what time it is. 4:30. So this is a good amount of time we're hoping to meet for the Tuesday, Thursday meetings. So make it brief, make it to the point, and then we'll be done. Okay, see you Thursday for John's amazing, informative lecture. And then next week we're going to have Ron Harrison here, exuberant and excited to talk about the Alps. We've got a good schedule. So, see you then.